Okay. Well, people, lovely folks. Hopefully, every platform shows up, does its thing. It could be helpful. Mm-mm-mm. I will know here shortly in a moment. And then we will get right on into it. Let's see. And thank y'all for joining me so far. And appreciate the grace on uh, on on the reschedule because yeah, I had to be out here doing my thing in the world. I had to go on vacation real quick, pull up relatively fast, and try some things out, do some new stuff, and definitely have some recaps or some things to add for later in regards to that. But in the interim, hopefully, let me pull this up and make sure that everything is everything. Again, thank y'all for showing up. Okay, cool. All platforms are good to go and live. Let me put this to the side so I will be able to consistently see the responses as well as share with y'all what I wanted to share with y'all. So, welcome again to the Greater Self Vibes podcast with your lovely host, Dr. Z. I am here today to talk to y'all, have a conversational, kind of one on one exploration of my relationship with yoga, but not just about it, but how it came to be, why, and just some of the hurdles it took to get over to even be in a position of this is even a thing that's for me in the first place. So, if you love your life, believe it or not, you actually love yoga. And I'm going to break this down to you and definitely go through my whole history as well as when I say whole history, what I do mean is exactly why I teach yoga and why I don't view it the way you would typically view a yoga class, and why today, kind of going through my whole relationship, where I started with things, how I rebuilt it, why we're even at this point now, and what it looks like to actually incorporate yoga into your lifestyle, not just on the mat like I do these poses and do these cool things. So let's go right on ahead and get into this lovely truth for you all, for you beautiful people that were willing to show up and spend your quality time with me. I appreciate y'all. So let's see. Okay. So the truth. Full transparency, and this is gonna be what it is, and you can take it or leave it. You can feel however you want to feel about me as a human being by hearing it. But I think there is some value in making sure that you are I just realized I don't even know if they can hear me over here on the TikToks because I didn't even put microphones in for today, but it is what it is. I'll turn this volume up. Hope you guys get the best experience and version in the interim. But my relationship with yoga did not even start from a space of me even believing that it was a real thing or it was a real thing that could be universal across multiple places and locations in life, but more or less um something that was not for people that look like me. So my whole assumption, yoga is something for other people. No one that looks like me is doing yoga. That picture actually was able to survive a studio contact, and where uh, let's see, how should we go about this? Because there's so many juicy different parts and pieces and bits and things. My first experience with yoga was actually by invitation of a friend. And I've shared about this kind of sort of before, but what it looked like was she was willing to try different stuff that where I was at in life, I was still holding on to some rather ignorant views of a lot of different things in the world. So the fact that even today it being different and not like that is I would say a testament to the continuous evolution of me as a human being and the reality of just because you know something at this point doesn't mean it can't change and be different. And be different because you allowed yourself to be open to the possibility and the space of it being different. I thought historically that if you did yoga, then it meant that you also believed in a religion that I grew up believing you could not believe in, and you would go to hell if you believed anything other than Christianity. So there's that lovely part of, where people can sometimes get stuck in the dogmatism of different religions and not even be open to exploring new things because it could mean something different than what you were familiar with. And to be fair, what most of us grow up being familiar with respectfully is probably trash until we start expanding upon these different life stories that we've incorporated and the reality and belief that the people that told us these things are so, we definitely don't want to believe that they could be wrong about anything because then it might mean we're changing our ideas of them being a good person. And I don't know about y'all, but there's people that I love and care about literally to this day that the ideal that they could be incorrect was not, that wasn't a truth that I was willing to accept. So bringing us back to my relationship with yoga. I believed for most of my life that it was something that I should not engage in. Excuse me. Should not engage in. And by doing so, I would be betraying who knows what about whatever I believed. The fact that I was willing to trust a friend, and this is where who you surround yourself with ideally should be people that are allowing you to elevate and become a better version of yourself because they maybe have been open to different things that you all mutually shared and believed in, but over time you continue to grow, evolve, elevate, and share information with each other. So everybody has this opportunity to do so. Having a girlfriend at the time, like be more in my physical space as well as just us having kids and like raising our kids and doing life together, she shared like how she enjoyed yoga and I was like, really? Tell me more about it. We talked about a bunch of other stuff during that period of time and just the experiences and like, wow, that's so cool or so different. And because it seemed like we had so much catching up to do and we were so intentional, at least back then, about making sure we kept in touch with each other and that our kids, spent time with each other. Now, most of them are like almost adults or bona fide adults. Her sharing about her experience of yoga and what it felt like for her and how good it felt to be able to move through it and do that. And us going to the gym to work out and there being yoga classes at, what is that? I think it was LA Fitness at the time, whatever. I was able to give myself a little grace and space to be open to the idea that LA Fitness could not be trying to change my religion, but more than anything, probably was giving me an opportunity to explore something different that will be enhancing to my workout. So, working out, lifting weights super hard at that time, I would say I was probably weighed the least that I had weighed in a long time since being a mom, but also had significantly more muscle definition and didn't know how to get the flexibility that I used to have in high school back because I'm over here deadlifting and pressing and doing all the things and doing the most respectfully and just didn't know how. So going to that yoga class, I was like, well, if it allows you to have more flexibility, maybe I should try it out. Go in there. I'm very, very much so like scoping everything out and like my head is on a swivel. I'm like, are these people cool? Are they doing the right thing? And then come the end of it, I was saying Shavasana, that was the place where my willingness to try something different was truly being tested in a matter of will I close my eyes for Shavasana or not? And no, I did not those first few times because I was like, this is where they get you. This is where all of a sudden everything goes different. And now you wake up, you open your eyes, and you've been transformed and you have whole new religious beliefs. None of that happened. Kept coming back to it, kept coming back to it. And the gentleman that was teaching that particular class, he would have a smile at the end And it felt so silly to be sitting there smiling, but in a room full of other folks where everyone was doing the same. This is where kind of the herd mentality or going with the flow, it worked in my favor because I grew to enjoy it and really like doing that. Fast forward some years later, I even went to another particular gym because of a specific yoga teacher and how he did his flows. And he always would do birds of paradise, which is a pose that I literally, I've grown to love, just like how I love inversions and headstands, but I never would have been open or privy to those things had I not given this one chance to a class being taught at LA Fitness for me to even expand on the possibilities of what yoga could not only offer me, but by me choosing, well, now that I've tried it, I must become a certified teacher and do all the things that I would now be able to share with other people because of it. And I would say the biggest gift that it did give me wasn't so much what I could do on the mat, but it was me being able to incorporate the sutras and learning things like the art of non-attachment and recognizing how necessary those types of that information is and was for me, and the ways that it still keeps showing up and how I do pretty much everything. And I always look at what ways can I bring the 8 limbs of yoga into my life? Or better yet, how am I living them out in a way that is most in integrity with the version of me that I'd like to show up as? Hence, knowing last week that I needed to cancel going live because I didn't want to shortchange or feel rushed or pressured to like get all of this out and get it out in a specific way and then miss the opportunity to really share my level of passion and care for yoga. But even the transition and the evolution of being ignorant and not wanting to try it at all, to trying it, deciding I must know and learn everything about it, to getting to the next level of deciding, and because I need to know all of it, I did my yoga teacher training in South LA and was in a room full of people that not only look like me or have similar backgrounds, but everyone was committed to becoming a better version of themselves, and the ideal that yoga does not need to look a particular way, the opportunity to learn how to help people access yoga from their current physical abilities to incorporate the mental capacity of it, and knowing that it didn't look the way I thought it would, what we learned and how we were putting yoga into our lives was nothing short of magical. There's still people to this day that I keep in touch with from that yoga teacher training from, I don't know, over maybe 10 plus years ago, moving forward to being in a position where I decided since I have my, yoga teacher certification now I must go open my own yoga studio because duh, that's what you do next. Did not know as much about business as I might have thought I knew or understood, but I learned a whole lot within that first 7 months of being able to do so because one, I learned this is not something you do haphazardly, and respectfully, me and my fire Aries energy, of course I'm gonna go hard in the paint and go all in and then fuck around and find out what I do and don't need to know. But I was able to open a space in South LA. And that opportunity even came about because of someone that I met in the yoga teacher training that came to just pour love and heart and energy into us. And then finding out we're both from the Midwest and having these different ways to connect. We got teenagers, all the things, open it next to his community center. So in this moment, we have this whole powerhouse of like all that we can be giving to a community. Meanwhile, I'm still working like in a whole nother city and living in another one in the opposite direction, shuffling these children around, choosing to be a cheer coach at the same time, and having to come to the reality of could I have kept that studio? Absolutely. But would it have been more beneficial for me to give that space to somebody else that was saying they were open to doing something in the community? Yes, because just because I open it doesn't mean people are going to come. They're not going to come when they have similar, respectfully ignorant views of what yoga is or isn't. And they haven't seen enough people that look like them, that talk like them, that have similar experiences as them at that point in time. where there would have been any reason to trust or believe that this is going to be helpful to them and make their life so much better that they'd be willing to show up for it. So, understanding I did not have the time for that, I went on ahead and removed myself, transferred the space over to someone else, and then continued to do more training and learning on it to explore what trauma informed yoga actually was. So I took a certification with Coco, and I do not remember what the letters stand for at this point in time. But they had teachers go to various different places throughout the states, maybe even other places at this time, and show instructors how to make it more accessible, especially to that specific community in South LA, and or maybe veterans or survivors of um, domestic violence or sexual assault or these various different traumas that people would experience, that the ideal of doing a downward facing dog in front of someone else would pretty much be the end of them, or being in a place where they're not able to have their back towards a wall where they can still see what's happening, to open up to the ideal that this is actually a safe space. Growing up in communities and having experiences where a safe space was not accessible near where they lived at, or even places they went outside of their community. So learning more about how to position people in a room so that they feel safe, how to ask for permission to support and adjust people should they need it, and giving them the space and opportunity to not only access yoga in a way that feels comfortable for them, but strongly encouraging people in that same space to take up the space you need to take. Do the poses you feel comfortable with doing. Choose not to if it doesn't feel comfortable. Opt to leave if this doesn't feel right for you in this moment. Asking for additional help and not being scared to do so, but making sure that when you are opening the space for a class, that you are giving people as much information as they possibly need, finding out who's a first time or who's more advanced. What are you all even looking for the day? And being able to curate and cultivate a class that feels very personal to the people that showed up. Now, I have things that I like to do, but whoever shows up is who I'm catering my class to. And learning that that is going to be a bigger benefit to anyone accessing yoga than doing a whole bunch of stuff that people expect you to do in a pattern that they expect you to do it in, or whatever they've seen on the internet, or allowing people to come in who they are, where they're at, checking and asking for permission. What are you in need of so that I can offer you that in this space? Making sure that, again, people are keenly aware. Nothing's going to happen in this yoga class that isn't supposed to. It's the perfect place for you to decide what you would or wouldn't like to get out of it. And saying you don't want to do a thing or do want to do a thing is 100% ideal and fine. This is your yoga experience. Me as a teacher, I just have the opportunity to facilitate an experience of something that hasn't historically been accessible to folks that probably look like me and the people showing up for it. Making it accessible to other folks looks like showing modifications for different positions or poses and ways that you can shape and move your body, using different tools such as straps or blocks, or maybe a yoga trapeze or a wheel, or bolsters, but using various different things to allow it to be accessible to all folks. There is this woman, I think, I can't remember her name in this moment, but she was very, and may still be today, one of the key folks that was making a point to show different bodies doing yoga and accessing it so that people would start to give a little grace and space for yoga. Isn't just for your typical Caucasian person that maybe went to Bali or India or somewhere before. It is for everybody. And respectfully, you just taking a deep inhale and exhale out allows you to have already done yoga. So when I said, if you love your life, then you love yoga, the idea of prana, which is the breath, inhaling and exhaling, you've already engaged in yoga and you didn't even know. And if you did know, now you can do it more on purpose. Part of what allowed me to move through this process, move through these explorations of choosing to have a yoga studio, then not having a yoga studio. And as I said, I transitioned to I needed to be kind of in two cities instead of three, multiple days out of the week. I had the opportunity to then start teaching yoga at the YMCA while also, well, the YMCA in Sierra Madre, Pasadena YMCA. And I did that for the years that my oldest was in high school and my youngest was going to the elementary. And not only did I get an opportunity to show up and be a part of the community that my children were in, that I worked in, the only thing we didn't do is still technically live there. But being able to show up and having that routine set up that people knew they could count on these days, they can come in here and they can have a yoga class that is going to have some familiar things to it. So they got to feel like, yeah, I know it. I'm like, I'm fancy over here. But also, they knew that we could try different things. And all they had to do was let me know what they were looking for. And they got to get access to what they wanted to do. So for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years, having these scheduled classes and having familiar people in the community show up and take the yoga classes and tell their friends about it and bring their families, and us having our own little community right up until when the pandemic hit was not only a highlight because one, I got to teach something that I loved and cared about and I loved sharing it. I got paid to do it, but it also even gave me a discount on childcare that I was going to spend anyway. So it was like, I get to do what I love. I get to do it with people that appreciate it. And it also benefits me more than just me sharing my gifts with other people. Again, various different aspects and limbs of yoga, but it was like my karma being paid forward. My karma yoga, I get to show up there. Was I being compensated? Yes. The way that I would be today, not so much, but I wasn't in a position where it needed to give more to me than I was already giving to it. Um, So after I moved out of that space and when the pandemic hit, respectfully, I took that as my opportunity to keep my gift to myself and be selfish with my yoga. During that time for a couple of years, there was like onesie twosies of folks that I was able, that inquired about doing one-on-one yoga so that we could work on specific things because I do curate my classes to people. So I had private clients that would come to my home because I had enough space to do it at that time. I still do now, but I had space to be able to do that and offer one-on-one sessions for people so that again, it was accessible and it was what they were looking for and they got to get their needs met, and it was a beautiful experience. But other than those private ones for a couple of years, I pretty much chopped it off and was like, you know what? I'm too smart to be out here just teaching yoga, totally missing and bypassing the bigger reality of I'm too smart not to be sharing something that's so helpful and beneficial to me and being so selfish with it that I didn't want to keep giving in the ways that I have been giving. And it took a period to transition into, while I love yoga and I love it for my life and know how beneficial it is, I needed to move into a space of finding how can I share this in a way that not only allows me to give to other people, but learning this process of reciprocity and understanding that I want to give all of this, but energetically I have to receive something back. So people coming and showing up and seeing me out in the street to say, "Oh, that's that yoga lady." I realized I missed that and started coming back around to it and doing some things in person and doing it live over the past couple of years to move towards now. Yes, I am definitely hosting things in person. And you can catch me at an event, and there's one happening at the end of next month. But why not go back into a space of offering private sessions to folks that are willing to have their nice own curated experience of yoga with someone who's able to hold, not only show you how to move your body, but hold space for what comes up energetically and emotionally, because moving your body in different ways unlocks where your body has held and stored different traumas, different stories, different things that therapy alone may not be able to move for you. You may need to move your body in a particular way to start unlocking some of the traumas and some of the things that you've experienced. So, being able to do that with someone that not only gets it, but I'm literally trained to be able to help and process that. So, having a therapist that teaches you yoga and someone who has learned multiple different ways to access yoga, in combination with, different energetic healing modalities that I've definitely learned, allowed me to start seeing the bigger picture of why I could not continue to be selfish and keep yoga to myself, but actually needed to bring the physical component back because all the other different areas of my life and training and experiences that I already had, this was the most easiest way to be able to share something that may not seem as accessible to most people, which is why I do offer free classes certain times a year for different things that I care about, like Veterans Day. But to keep giving people an opportunity to see and become a greater version of themselves. And if yoga is the tool that makes all the different stuff connect together, then it would be irresponsible of me not to show up and share it and to move past that period of being selfish and feeling like I overgave and did too much to you didn't overgive and do too much. You just weren't mentally in a space to comprehend and you hadn't learned business wise yet how to not only show up and give more than what people expect, but to let them know that it's even possible to do in the first place. So, when I say if you love your life, then you love yoga, I invite you to consider and explore the reality of maybe instead of just looking at, oh, she's doing another headstand again, you might want to look at what even makes a person want to do headstands that consistently and frequently. And how can I get some of whatever that is, even if you never do a headstand in your life, but maybe you just, I don't know, learn how to breathe in a way that really works for your body. Maybe you decide, I want to gain more, not flexibility. What is that word? Well, I don't remember. More mobility. And yoga is definitely a tool that can do it. And because there's so many different types of yoga, whether you ever do it with me or not, go find a way that you can access a component of it in your life that is going to be supportive to you. So whether it's through any of the eight limbs, and you can Google eight limbs of yoga and go through it. Who knows? Maybe one day I might share about that more specifically. If someone were to ask a question, then maybe I feel compelled to share about it. But this relationship that I have with yoga has gone from a level of ignorance, and this is the evolution of how we start change, from ignorantly not believing it was something that would ever be for me to learning as much as I possibly could learn about it and wanting to share it with everyone in the world to the point of I need to have a physical space to do this, to sharing it in a community space and that being great and perfect and probably the most harmony I've ever had with it historically, to I am selfishly stealing this and keeping this all for myself and never sharing it with anyone else, back to it's my responsibility to share things that I have learned and share it in a way that allows people to feel like it's accessible for them and they want to show up, they want to experience it, and allow the fun to flow in it. Like, there's no need for me to be selfish with it. But should I offer it in a way that totally matches with my lifestyle, what I have going on? Most definitely. Like I said, I appreciate the patience of you all waiting for this particular episode to come out and to be live because last week, as much as I believed in my mind that I was going to be able to show up, knock this out, go take a shower, pack all my stuff, hop on a flight, and do all the things, that was very ambitious of me. Very, very ambitious. So, having more time to show up and be fully present and share this in the way that you have rocked with me for this whole session, I appreciate you for that. And I'd explore maybe this is a great opportunity to share this with someone else that may have some thoughts or views about yoga. Maybe they're curious about trauma informed yoga. Maybe they're curious about why would somebody even do it in the first place? Please feel free to like this, share this, let somebody else know that there will be an opportunity at the end of August that you can come and do yoga with me in person because, yeah, while I'm not being selfish, I'm also not just out here, every single day you can show up unless you happen to join the membership when that comes around and is opened, and you'll hear more details about these lovely things later. But until then, thank y'all for showing up and spending a little time with me. I look forward to speaking with y'all next week and deciding what things can I share with y'all from my past vacation that would allow you to not only access yoga, but to access more of your feminine flow in a way that works for you? So, thank y'all for showing up. I appreciate your time and attention. Like I said, like this, share this, invite other people to show up to it too. And I will see y'all on the next episode.